Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch, we'd like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online. Click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'll be reviewing the Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra 150 meters 41 millimeter steel with a rubber strap, beige color with a silver dial, reference 220.12.41.21.02.005. I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this watch, then I'll tell you about where it stands in the lineup of other similar Aqua Terras, then I'll tell you about the case bezel dial bracelet movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start just with a little history. Now, the Aqua Terra has been around for quite some time. I think it's one of, not the longest standing line of Omega, but it's been a long time since it's been around. The major classes of or collections of watches that Omega makes, you can kind of break it down into the Seamaster, the Speedmaster, which is for the moon watch mostly. They have the Constellation, which is a dress watch, and the DeVille, which is also kind of a dress watch, not that popular, but I can basically break it down into Seamaster and Speedmaster. The Aqua Terra is part of the Seamaster edition. Seamaster meaning, as the name implies, watches that design can particularly go into the sea, or at least be waterproof or water resistant enough to be sporty like. And even though it looks kind of sporty, it is with this rubber strap and everything. You can really wear it in other situations as well, but it's not a typical dress watch. But at any rate, the Aqua Terra is one of the lines of the Seamaster. Of the Seamaster line, there's Aqua Terra, Diver, Planet Ocean, etc. It's one of the bigger lines of Aqua Terra, of the Seamaster edition. Okay. Now, where does this watch stand in the lineup? Now, the Aqua Terra, this version was released in 2021. And what makes it different? Well, this is a more modern version. In 2021, approximately, Omega started revamping their Aqua Terra line because it just looked a little bit, to be quite honest, a little bit boring. And so they modernized it. And what do I mean by modernizing it? Well, they have, first of all, the shape of the case has more or less been the same, but the way that the hour markers, the hands, the case back, and all this stuff, which I'll go through in detail, those things are all evolved since the last generation of Aqua Terra. So this is the latest generation, at least as of 2025, and they're really leaning into the Aqua Terra collection by doing a lot of different variations. This is one of the latest. It's only 4 years old, at least the variation that you're looking at here. And it's one of the coolest. They don't make a lot of the Aqua Terras on rubber strap. Rubber strap makes the watch even look more sporty, and the way at least I see it is that this one, it looks very sporty, very cool, very sporty. There's about 150 Aqua Terras. 29 of them are on rubber strap, and they make many different colors, as you can imagine: blue, black, silver, beige, like this, white, green, etc., on different materials and so forth. So this was really one of the coolest ones. So let's start talking about it now that we've talked about where it stands in the lineup and a little bit of the history and the overview. Let's start talking about the watch itself, shall we? Let's start with the case. Now, the case is 41 millimeters from my thumb to my index finger, okay? And it's a nice diameter, not too big, not too small, 41. Now, you might want to compare that and go, well, what is the how might it fit on me? Well, one of the best indicators of how it would fit on you is by looking at the lug width. And the lug width on this is around 50 millimeters. It's not terribly, it's not a very big lug width. Now, if you compare that, actually, I'm sorry, I take it back. The lug width is only 48 millimeters. And if you compare that, for example, to like an Rolex GMT, it's also around 48 millimeters. So that's a nice lug width, even though it's a kind of large in size in terms of diameter, 41 millimeters, but the lug width is only 48 millimeters. And that's more or less the same size as Rolex's watches that are 40 millimeters. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, rewind and you can listen to it again. But basically, the lug to lug width at 48 millimeters is going to fit most men. And I would say if you have a wrist size, well, let's say 6.5 inches or larger, this 41 millimeters is going to fit you fine. And if it doesn't, by the way, the Aqua Terra, they do make a 38 millimeter if your wrist size is, let's say, less than 6.5 millimeters. And of course, if you want to buy any of these, you can simply just go to jazztime.com. Okay, so that's the lug to lug width. And now the lug to lug width, just let me remind you, is the 12 to 6 o'clock position. It's where the top of the watch to the bottom, the longest distance across, and that number, that distance is important because that's how it will sit across your wrist. You don't want the lug to lug to pass your wrist, and that ends up looking too big. And you also, of course, you don't want it too small. So you want it just right, and 48 millimeters is a really good size. Most of it's going to fit most people. All right, also talking about this case, the beveled edge on this is a really large beveled edge. It's hard to even call it a bevel edge, but it is a very large edge to it. And actually, it's a high polish, and it has a satin finish on the inside of it, which actually looks great. It looks fantastic. And it's a hallmark of the Aqua Terra. It's just the way that they make the case. It's kind of, it's just the way they make it. It looks great, if you ask me. Let's move on here to the bezel. Oh, I forgot to mention. So also another key factor about the case is also the height, the thickness of it. And this one, it has a really nice thickness. It's only 13 millimeters thick. And, you know, that's not the thinnest. You know, 12 is kind of what Rolex is, but it's okay. 13 millimeters, 1 millimeter thicker is okay, because you know what they do for that 1 extra millimeter? They give you an open case back, and Rolex doesn't give you an open case back. So it's quite a beautiful design of the case. I would say actually the perfect size case. 41 diameter, lug to lug width of 48 millimeters, thickness of 13. I mean, what else can you ask for? You know, it's going to fit almost everybody. Okay, let's move on here to the bezel. Now, the bezel really just a continuation of the case. I'm glad they didn't do some funky bezel like diamonds or fluted or something like that. They just did a dome bezel, simple. Because this is actually a sports watch. It falls under the Seamaster category, which, as the name implies, sea and master, so it can go into water. It's sporty, you know, not necessarily a diving watch, but it is. Although it could be, by the way, it absolutely could be. It goes 150 meters in water, which is quite deep, and it's very sporty. So you don't really want decorative things on the front of the bezel, which is most likely the area to get hit the most. Okay, let's move on here to the dial. Now, here's where I think that this watch really shines, if you ask me. And it's a little bit understated, so I'm going to explain it to you. Now, the old Aqua Terra didn't have these triangular index markers and really high luminescence that this one does. So if I shine the light at it, you'll see that the luminescence, it really is superb. It sticks out really well. And if you notice kind of carefully at the hour and minute hand, they don't put 3 hands all in the center like most watches. They put the hour and the minute, and they separate the luminescent on the hour and minute so that it's more easily readable. I've used a lot of watches where the entire hand is luminesced, which actually kind of made it hard for me to see which is the hour and which is the minute. But Omega solved that problem by simply putting the hour luminescent toward the center and the minute luminescent toward the periphery. And I think that really makes the watch much more legible at night, which is a good, you know, it's really nice. And also just the design of it looks cool. You know, it's not all white, right? Okay, so, and I don't know if anyone else who's really doing this sort of arrow or triangular shaped hour markers. So I think that is also a really cool feature of it. Okay, the next part is where they put the seconds. Now, they decided to do a small running seconds at the bottom. I think that's totally cool. I mean, it's a lot. If you look at the 38 millimeters, they don't do that. And I don't think they, as a result, look as cool as the 41 millimeters, putting the second hand at the 6 o'clock. And not only did they do that, they decided, okay, what would be a great place to put the date? Because the date is something very important, you know? So they put it here also at the 6 o'clock. And they kind of hid it in there, at least, you know, conspicuously, so that it looks good. I have to say I like the way that it's done here, okay? And so, yeah, that's the dial. And what else I can say about it, they not only used a nice, they call this the teak pattern. Teak is what you use in boat decks. So it has that teak pattern, and it just looks very natural. And then they paired the silver with a really cool color of beige. Beige on the inner running small seconds in the center and on the periphery of the bezel. And I just think that if they have that little accent there, it's a little accent of a color, and they pair that with the strap, and as you probably could imagine, beige is a really good color that matches a lot of things. It's a very neutral color. It's not like green, you know, or, you know, some difficult color. So in that sense, just it's a really nicely well thought out color arrangement and dial layout. Okay. All right, moving on here to the bracelet. Now the bracelet here is a rubber strap, and again, it's not just a rubber strap. You know, what makes this strap look special is that instead of just doing a rubber strap, they could have just done it flat like everybody else. Even Rolex does a flat rubber strap. But Omega decided to make a rubber strap that actually has a pattern that looks like a canvas or a nylon strap. You look down the center of it, it has this weave pattern. It looks like a canvas strap, but it's actually rubber. And the good part of that is that rubber doesn't really stink. You wash it off, it's all good. But leather, canvas, it can stink after a while, and it can also come apart, but it still has the look. You know, it might have made the watch a little bit too sporty looking to make it all rubber, flat, you know. Instead, they made it with this pattern, so it just really looks like it provides more depth, in my opinion, to the watch, and just makes it look more in line with what it was supposed to be. It has this teak dial with this canvas strap, look-alike strap. It looks sporty, yet it still looks not like it's like a G-Shock. Okay, so yeah, it's a very nice touch if you ask me. Now, some of these straps are too big for some people, so sometimes it comes on a medium strap, but if you have a smaller hand, let's say 6.5 inches on wrist size, then you can also change it to a small strap, and likewise, they make larger ones for big. And they're not much, they're like $300. And we can order that for you if you're buying the watch from jazztime.com. Okay, let's move on here, and the buckle is also actually just as nice. Let's move on to the movement here, which I really think this watch, it really stands out. And what do I say that for? Well, the price point of this watch, at least as of 25, is $7,400. We're selling it for much less than that, around $6,000 or so. You know, that price changes up or down depending on some things, but at any rate, we're selling it less than retail. And for this price, you get a very sporty watch with an open case back and a beautiful movement. I can't say that for any other brand, really. I mean, what other brand can be at this price point with all the features that this watch has? And so it has a caliber 8916, which is actually an Omega Co-Axial Master Chronograph caliber, and it's held to a very high standard. They hold a standard by the Swiss Federal Institute of Meteorology, which is a METAS. And yeah, it's a beautiful movement, and it works very well. And it's open case back so you can see it. I mean, what else could you want? All right, so for all those reasons, I'm definitely going to give it 2 thumbs up and give it my thoughts here and try it on my wrist. Now, I just think the Omega does a great watch. Well, I'm going to say they do a great watch for the price point, okay? If you compare them to more expensive watches, no. But you have to compare everything for the price that they were intended to be and the audience that they were intended to sell to, right? So for this price point, the $7,000 and retail price point and less than that at jazztime.com in the $6s, I just think it's a great watch. And it has all the features, as I said, open case back. It's relatively thin, at least thin for an Omega, and it's kind of small for an Omega, right? So you don't want a very big, cumbersome watch. And the color is great. It's going to go with everything. It has an open case back. It's not so expensive where, you know, you got to mortgage your house to buy it. And it also looks great. So I'm going to definitely give it 2 thumbs up. And if you want to buy this at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in jazz time, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.